Welcome to DWBIADDA channel. Please subscribe for latest training videos.
Hello friends, in today's video we will be learning about the playbook, and this is the part 2 of the video. So continuing with our second video, so the tags are also an essential part of the playbooks. So when we have a large playbook, it may become useful to be able to run only a specific part of it rather than running everything in the playbook. And Ansible supports a tag attribute for this reason. So whenever we have written a playbook and we only want to execute a certain segment of that playbook, then we can use the tags attribute for executing that certain section only. So it will always save our time and our resources whenever using the Ansible. Now there is a thing called tag reuse, so we can apply the same tag to more than one task, and we can use the tag for this purpose. And tag inheritance basically means that adding tags to a play or statically imported tasks and roles, and add those tags to all of the contained tasks. So in case if we want to add a task to a playbook file and also import those tasks and roles, then we can simply use the command. We can simply use the attribute tag inheritance for inheriting the tasks and roles from a different playbook file onto a new one. And also we can create special tags, and these tags will always run a task. So whenever we are defining a special tag, we are stating that we are giving a task which should always be in running state. Now the error handling in playbooks is also an important feature of playbook. So error handling basically means that how we are managing the errors which are occurring inside the playbook. Now inside the playbook there could be ignoring failed commands. So generally playbooks will stop executing any more steps on a host that has a task fail. So whenever a playbook is executed and a step inside the playbook has been failed, so the further task would be continued and it will stop itself there. So by this we can simply stop the configuration, or we can simply stop the running task if there is a failure within the playbook file. And if we want, we can also reset the unreachable host. So if there is a connection failure, set host as unreachable, which will remove them from the list of active hosts for run. So in case if we are running a playbook file and multiple hosts are connected to it, and if there is a connection failure, then that host will be automatically removed from the file of the Ansible configuration. So the further implementation of configuration won't be happening on that failed host. Also, there is a concept of handlers and failures. So when a task fails on a host, handlers which were previously notified will not be run on that host, and this can lead to cases where an unrelated failure can leave a host in unexpected state. So whenever task fails on a host, then the handlers which were previously notified will not be running on that host again. So this can lead a bit of confusion for the team. So these are some parameters which needs to be taken care of while handling the errors in playbooks. Now talking about blocks. Blocks allow for logical grouping of tasks and in a play error handling. So the blocks are simply used for grouping of tasks which we are doing in the playbooks and handling the errors. So blocks error handling basically refers to the uh, introduction of the ability to handle errors in a way similar to exceptions in most programming languages. So the block error handling was introduced to manage those errors, to handle those errors and exceptions like any other programming language. Now blocks only deal with failed status of a task. A bad task definition or an unreachable host are not rescuable errors. So the blocks are only defined and limited to the failed status of a task. So whenever tasks fail, then only a block error handling will occur. So in case if the host is unreachable, then in that case they are not the rescuable errors. Now talking about the lookups, lookup plugins allow access to outside data sources. So in case if we want to access the outside data sources, we can use the lookup plugins present inside the Ansible environment. And like all templating, these plugins are evaluated on the Ansible control machines and include reading the file system as well as contacting external data stores and services. So we can use these lookups either to read the file or also manipulate or contact the external data stores and services for our needs. And once they are contacted, this data is then made available using the standard templating system in Ansible. And some of them are lookups and loops and lookups and variables. So by using these templating systems, we can simply make the data available once they are contacted to the external data source. Also, one way of using lookups is to populate variables. So once we are using lookups, we can also populate the variables, or we can also store the variables on the information or the variables, and these macros are evaluated each time they are used in a task. So these are the features which are provided by the lookups attribute, and we can use the lookups to connect to an external resource and also populate the variables, and they are also evaluated each time when they are used in a task. So all in all, these are some important features of the playbooks which we get with the Ansible setup. And friends, that was all for today's video. Thank you.